Thank you. No, Navika, as we speak, I think it is the Congress state of Chhattisgarh where the Chief Minister says has been consistently saying that he's not going to allow the administration of COVAX. And the Congress state of Punjab was given, I think, hundreds, maybe a couple of hundreds or more of ventilators by the center. They've been gathering dust for the past few months. So let's not talk about that. But I'm glad that Mr. Raghav Chadha, who is the spokesperson of Aam Aadmi Party, raised very pertinent issues. But of course, in the end, he said, look, I'm not finger pointing, except that he pointed all his 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. But I think that's important because criticism is valid and criticism should be accepted. And he raised 2 very valid points. Number one was the hypocrisy of the Prime Minister, where he's been addressing rallies left, right, and center. And here he is talking about the rampaging pandemic. And number 2, he did raise this important point about the oxygen being exported. I think it was 13,500 metric tons to Bangladesh, which is also important. And I think these 2 issues have been raised. But I want to ask him, Raghav, in the spirit of unity and camaraderie between people, all Indians battling COVID, the 3 issues. And number 1, are you prepared to say, I'm not talking as, asking you as a spokesperson, just as a human being, a rational human being. Do you think now the farmers' protest should be disbanded, considering that you are against all rallies and all gatherings, including all religious and political gatherings? Can you say that? And number 2, when you talk about, why didn't the Prime Minister foresee the shortage of oxygen? Is it not true that barely 4 or 5 days ago, our Chief Minister, I include myself in that, our Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said, Delhi walon, oxygen ki koi kami nahi hai. Can you address these 2 issues? And finally, let me bung this one in as well. How much is your advertising budget for the forthcoming year? And how much has it been for the last year?
Okay, I'll respond.
Respond, Raghav Chadha.
Thank you. So very quickly, Navika, the questions that I had raised regarding mass congregations in rallies addressed by elected representatives holding important positions, constitutional positions in the government of India, that of the Prime Minister and that of the Home Minister, were raised merely because they are in charge of running the country. The buck stops at their table. They are the principal administrators of India. The farmers are not the principal administrators. Rakesh Tikait is not the Prime Minister, and other leaders are not Home Ministers. It's the Prime Minister and the Home Minister who must lead by example, and therefore I had raised that point, number 1. Number 2, as far as the Honorable Chief Minister of Delhi's remarks are concerned, Navika, yes, the previous speaker is right. The Chief Minister had said that we are working very hard, things are under control, we will set things right. But he also said, when he was referring to assistance from Union government, that yes, we have written to them, we have requested them to supply us oxygen, etc. And we are very hopeful of a positive response. We will work together. We will work shoulder to shoulder like we did last year. So therefore, I still stand by what my Chief Minister had said. He was absolutely right. We are still very positive. In fact, through your channel, I appeal to the Union government that please give us oxygen. And if Zafar Islam Saab is the official spokesperson of the government of India, I would request him to assure all Delhiites through this most viewed channel Times Now that adequate oxygen supplies will be given to Delhi. And lastly, as far as advertisement is concerned, let me tell you that nobody, forget in India, in the subcontinent, or in the entire world, spends more money on publicity and advertisement and gold plating his own image than the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi.
There we go.
If one were to compare figures, we could do that.
I must be allowed to rebut.
There is no.
You want to rebut him? You want to rebut him, Dr. Anand Ranganathan?
Yes. Yes. I asked him.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan wants to rebut you.
Yes. To my good friend Raghav Chadha, I asked you 3 pointed questions, and I haven't obtained answers from any one of those. So you are a sterling politician. You will go very far in politics. We are possibly looking at the next Chief Minister of Delhi. Number 1, I asked you, should farmers protest that are actively hotspots of COVID, should they be disbanded? You talked about something else.
Transfer to Prime Minister and Home Minister Amit Shah.
Yes. Number two, I asked you, did Arvind Kejriwal foresee the shortage of oxygen? You had no clue. You said no, he talked about let's get things together. Have you seen his tweets today? And number 3, I asked you pointedly, what is your advertising budget? I have criticized BJP for their advertising budget as well. But you did not answer what is your advertising budget for the last year has been and what will be for the next year. All
Okay, I will.
Raghav Chadda.